Fat Joe recently sat down with This Is 50 and reflected on the 2001 Nas and Jay-Z beef. Check out the clip.
Nas was my man since day one. So people don't know I used to ride around the Bronx with Nas, Queens with Nas. So when Nas caught beef with Jay-Z, they threw the battery in my back like, we got beef with this man. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm on muscle. So I'm like, all right, so I'm moving a certain way. And more to the story is, it was bad blood between, you know, Rockefeller and Terror Squad for a long time. And next thing I know, I seen Nas with Jay-Z, and you know, it was peace. But it left me in the outskirts of like, he ain't pick up the phone and say, yo, Joe, I'm about to squash it with this man and give him, which I would have told him, go get money. So I'm all about getting money. So I would have told him, yo, go get money. But now me and these niggas are feeling a certain way because I was repping you hard. You understand what I'm saying? And, you know, I felt abandoned. I felt like, wow, you know, I was front line for a nigga. If you look at the videos, Made You Look and all that, I'm standing with the nigga, I'm running around with I was like, wow. So that's what I made sure when I squashed it with 50 Cent, I did not do.
Wow. So Fat Joe said he felt like Nas abandoned him. Well, basically, that's called lack of communication. What Nas did was he forgot to call off the dogs. Anytime there's a beef and the beef is settled, you got to call off the dogs or call off the wolves to make sure nobody gets hurt. When there's real beef, there's two things that are the most important pieces of information in a beef. One is that there is actually a beef. You know, one of the worst things you could do is be involved in the beef and you don't even know that there's a beef. And the second most important piece of information in the beef is when the beef is over, because you don't want somebody to get hurt when actually all the drama and all the problems have already been settled. So that's what Nas did. He forgot to let Fat Joe know that the beef was over. And when you do that, sometimes one person's beef becomes the other person's beef that's helping them. So Nas's beef with Jay-Z kind of spilled over to Fat Joe. Even though Nas was cool with Jay-Z then, it was still looking like Fat Joe and Jay-Z had beef. Where if Nas really would have kept everybody in the loop, it would have all been squashed at once. And I'm sure it's just an oversight on Nas's behalf. He probably wasn't in as close contact with Fat Joe as he should have been. But looking at it from Fat Joe's side, I could definitely feel where he's coming from. And I kind of related to a situation that I had with my sister. Like, my sister had a problem with one of her boyfriends. She told me about it. I checked her boyfriend. Then like 3 days later, she brings her boyfriend back around and I'm not cool with him. Like, I mean, it still possibly might go down. I might just put tips on him just on the strength. And she's like trying to make sure everything's all good. But I'm like, man, don't bring me into no play problems. If you got a problem with somebody, let me know when it's a real problem and it's really something needs to be done. But all this going back and forth, man, forget all that. Leave me out of all that. The Fat Joe and Nas situation ain't exactly like the one I just told you about, but I know you know what I'm talking about, Jack.